Mic check, mic check. Make sure my mic is on. All right. Y'all already know what time it is. And it's gonna be one of the ones, man. You know what I'm saying? It's been one of those historic weeks in hip hop, you feel me? And other than that, it's your boy Los. Of course, we on episode 65, and this is for the love. You know what I'm saying? I just want to welcome y'all. And before we do get started, just want to shout out to all my supporters out there, all my DSP listeners and YouTube subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, of course, please do so. You're missing out on all the content. And tell a friend to tell a friend, you feel me? But like I said, this definitely has been one of those weeks, couple weeks per se, of probably, if not one of the greatest on wax battles in hip hop history. And I'm thinking, should I, actually, because, we're going to break down as far as the whole totality of what went down, because since the last pod, and shout out to the good brother Too High, he had me out there at the Comedy Lookout, you know what I'm saying? And if you haven't checked that out, by the way, check the DSPs and YouTube channel for that. That was episode 64, you know what I mean? But since that popped off, and that's been about a week or two, it's been a lot of back and forth. There's been a lot of quality raps. There's been a lot of disses. There's been a lot of serious allegations that we're going to get into. But at this point, it's definitely safe to say that we got a winner in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Out of this battle. And to me, Dot won. It's no question. It's very clear. It's more than just the raps. It's the angles. It's the impact. It's the strategy. It's the, approach in it, and how that, was heavier than the Nets. And we're going to get into that, like I said. But starting at this point, it really started, more so like where we left off, like from the last pod. So from the last pod, it started with the Family Matters record. Mind you, at this point, I'm at the crib, you know what I'm saying, regular day. And I think it was a Friday, but I'm at the crib watching the game, regular shit. And then get the notification. Family Matters is out. 7 minutes. Drake, his Instagram page, you know what I'm saying? Because in the beginning, it was, the whole, is it AI? Is it real? Is it fake? Is it, all this shit? So at this point, we know it's him. And we excited because we finally got the record that he's about to bomb with. You know what I'm saying? He's about to get at them niggas. This is the nuke, per se. This is the red button that motherfuckers is saying. Like, the past records with the push-ups, Telemade, Euphoria, 616, those were the warning shots. As much as they was, rapping their ass off on these records, they was really just telling each other, like, yo, I don't want to do too much, but, you do this and you do that. But once it got to Family Matters, this was the one that was like, all right, this is where he should end the shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, the record comes out, Academics, shout out to DJ Academics. He releases the record on his stream on Twitch, and we listening to the record. And the first thing that I noticed once the record comes out is that the intro is a continuation from the ending of the Push Up record. And where he goes to drop, like that's the same thing from that. So that tells me that he already had this in the tuck. And it further confirmed to me that this was Drake's nuke, meaning this was the one that he felt that was going to dead the whole situation and give him the dub. You know what I'm saying? Now, with that being said, it's definitely safe to say that he's snapping on the record. He's, he's giving us the same Drake that, the fans love the same, melodic Drake, the melodies, the flows, the switches. It's a 7-minute record and it has multiple beat switches. And once it goes from the first to the second verse, now at this point in the second verse, this is where he goes from a melodic approach to a more serious, more up-tempo flow where he's taking the approach and killing the competition. Now, the only issue with that is that the competition that he's killing with this verse is not Kendrick. It's niggas like ASAP, Ross, Weeknd, Metro, you know what I'm saying? He's even talking about Future, but he's not really, that's the only nigga, and it's telling because he's the only nigga that he's not really shooting at, but more so just speaking on how he feels kind of displeasured from even being in this situation with Future because he really got love for him, but he's blaming Metro for it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was very telling that he didn't really have a lot to say about Future, but everybody else, they got the headshot. And that was the second verse. And he's snapping like with ASAP. He's telling ASAP how, motherfuckers only talk about you, about your fashion, and they don't really talk about your raps. And you need to ask, your girl, which is Rihanna, about me and all this shit. And from a response is ill. But personally speaking, I don't want to hear none of that shit because, again, at this point of the battle, we looking at you and Drake and Kendrick. So, yeah, these guys like Ross and ASAP and etc., they may have shot at him on the second Metro album. But at this point, when, to me, you already deaded the shit on the push-up record, you already killed that 20 versus 1 thing. So after that, and when Kendrick responds with the Euphoria in the 616, that's where at that point the mindset should have been you and Kendrick, or just Kendrick is the target. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, he's bombing at these niggas. He's getting them out the way. He's wiping them off. You know what I'm saying? And then he gets to the third verse, and that's where the third verse is more so dedicated, towards Kendrick. Now, with the Kendrick verse, before we get to the content, again, it's the one thing about Family Matters that makes it dope besides the raps is that he's utilizing his versatility. Like, he's showcasing what made him the best and the number one guy for the past 10, damn near 15 years in the game. Like, he's showing us a great example of his versatility, multiple flows, skill content, lyrics, etc. So once he goes from melodic, second verses, rapidy, aggressive tone, back to melodic, but he's saying things that's very direct, and we know it's Kendrick, and he's bombing at him too. You got to pay attention. So on the third verse, he starts with, which I thought was clever when he says, Kendrick opened his mouth, somebody give him a Grammy right now. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was very punny. Not punny, but more so like funny. I would say that was the wrong word, but like it was funny in terms of just like playing on the fact that every time Kendrick comes out, every 3 to 5 years, he wins a Grammy for his catalogs. So it's just like, treating the Grammy as a participation award. Like, here, take it, because you finally start talking. And then he follows that with the, I want to speak to your uncle because he the man of the house, which is a play on the record on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, where Kendrick alludes to his aunt, transitioning and becoming a man. So I thought that was another funny thing. And then he also speaks on a lot of things within the verse. However, that kind of still conflicts me because it goes back to my feeling on the second verse. Like, even though he's bombing on the second verse, on the third, even though we know at this point that the third is focusing on Kendrick, he's saying things like how you should, come and get Pharrell's legacy out my house. And he's referring to the chains because, mind you, not only did Drake did the song, he dropped the video to this as well. So he gave us visuals. He gave us visuals of, a replica of the Good Kid, Mad City van being crushed. He had Pharrell chains in his video. He was at the restaurant that Kendrick spoke on and mentioned in the Euphoria record in Toronto. So he's giving us visuals of references that tells us that he's had this pretty much shit whole planned out, and he wanted this moment, or he felt like this moment was going to be the one that was going to like put the nail in the coffin and solidify this whole shit for Drake. That's just how I saw it. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, the third verse in the whole song was fire. He was snapping the whole time. And not only on the third, where he's saying the things about, the Grammy, the aunts thing, the Pharrell line, which to me was weird because what the fuck does Pharrell, like, yeah, Kendrick spoke on that in Euphoria, how he stated that he hate him so much. Like, why you dissing Pharrell? I'm going to inherit that beef. And Drake says, since you want to inherit it, take his legacy out my house. I thought that was just weird because it's like, why are you dissing a nigga that just don't diss motherfuckers? Like, I don't see the points in that you get from that. You know what I'm saying? But I understand from a response standpoint because Kendrick spoke on it, so you respond to it. I just didn't think that was just, I don't know, bro. Like, I just felt like he wasn't focusing on the nigga. You know what I mean? But then from there, he goes to, doubling down on him being a woman beater and how he needs, like, why the kid is not his, but is actually his manager, Dave Freeze. And he's, antagonizing not only Kendrick, but his baby mother / wife, Whitney, which is a red flag because you would have thought this nigga would have learned from the last situation with Push and how that shit turned about, but he's still playing that same game. But this is what he's speaking on in the Family Matters record. So regardless of how I felt and how a lot of people felt about these responses, from a surface standpoint, meaning a first time listen, he's snapping. And once the record is concluded, at the end of the day, we looking at a record that's 7 minutes of heat, and this is to him his nuke. So we're looking at Kendrick like, okay, now what are you gonna do? With that being said, because again, this is May 3rd, and to me, in real life, like looking back on it, it was definitely about like 40 minutes with it, no less than an hour, that the record was able to like come out and like sit and like for the people to consume. But less than an hour after the Family Matters record comes out, Kendrick responds with Meet the Grams. So even though I'm saying 40 minutes, to me in real time, it felt like 2 fucking minutes, because like that quick, that's when Kendrick just like, it was like he sat there, waited for Kendrick to come out. Waited for Drake to come out. I'm getting the names twisted up and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm hyped, but like, cause it's just thinking about this shit is wild. But like, he waited for Drake to come out. And as soon as that fucking record was finished, he just hit drop, and the shit was dropped. And not only was the overstep a momentum switch, it's the record itself that was crazy. Now, on this record, he gets to aiming at not just Drake, but he's aiming at his family. Hence the title, Meet the Grams. So he's talking not only to Drake, but he starts with his son, Adonis. He's talking to his father. Then he's talking to his mom. Then he alludes to having a secret daughter, as far as Drake having an 11-year-old daughter. Now, that being said, I want to focus on, lies and truths in battle rap, more so disses, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, I don't really give a fuck about lies and truths in battling, because like at the end of the day, this shit is a sport. And granted, on both ends, they said things that was serious enough to tarnish each person's rep. One is calling the other a woman beater, and then you got the other calling them a pedophile. So those are two things that can get you canceled. And those are serious things as well that you would have to show proof and debunk on either side. Like the person that's alleging that has to show proof that this is the case. And then the person that's being alleged these claims have to speak. Like you can't just go silent on it. But again, this is battle rap, or like this is disses. So it's no different than when Pac came out on Hit 'Em Up and said, I fucked your bitch. Like we don't know that to this day to be the case if he did that or not. We just know when he said it, it hit because it was disrespectful. And then not only that, when the photo came out, it kind of made it seem like, that could possibly be the fucking case that he actually did do that. You know what I'm saying? So all that being said, regardless of how you feel about it, because you got fact checkers out there, like, on both sides saying that, you got Kendrick fans saying that Kendrick told the truth, but Drake lied. So that's something. And you got Drake fans saying that, Drake, everything Drake is saying, it is what it is, and Kendrick is lying. So it makes what he's saying on Meet the Grams diluted, and he loses off that strength. But either way, the record comes out, and even if you take the daughter verse off that shit, he's still snapping at Kendrick. It goes back to the tone and the approach, and more than just the raps, the other aspects of the battle as to why I have Dot winning, because not only in my opinion that Dot out rapped him, but he had a better strategy than Drake did. I felt like Kendrick's team, took it very serious than Drake did. I felt like Drake not only thinking that the Family Matters record was the nuke, but him playing the internet game and trying to, meme him and things like that is what got to him. Like he underestimated Kendrick. I don't think he really took him serious. And then the fact that you did the same thing that you did with Pusha T, and speaking of somebody's family situation and questioning their family unit, was a shot on the foot, because when you did it with Push, we saw how that went with the story of Adidon, and then we found out that he was having a child and he had a son, and he exposed that, and then he didn't respond from there. So to go from that to this situation, and we're talking about a Kendrick Lamar, and regardless of how you feel about Kendrick, knowing that Kendrick ain't one of the ones to play with, when you bring up his family situation, and Kendrick alludes to that in Euphoria and says how I'm trying to keep things surface level and rap, but you taking it there is only going to make me go further. So Drake doing that, and you open the door. Now when you open the door and Kendrick walks in that door, now you have to deal with pedophile claims. You know what I'm saying? Because on this Meet the Grams record, not only is he overstepping your record that's supposed to be the nuke, but on this particular record, he's talking to you, and he's talking to your family as if you ain't shit. Like you don't matter. Like he's telling your son that you should be not existed. He's telling your mother that people like your son should die. Like he's telling your father, like you pretty much was trash as a father, raising some type of nigga like Drake. Like, and then he ends with talking to Drake, and he's telling him how he has a gambling addiction, and he has prescription issues, and he has these mental, like he's like walking them down. It's like if you see a warehouse, an empty warehouse, and you see 5 chairs, and each chair is accompanied by a family member of Drake's, and then he goes one by one, and then the last chair is fucking Drake, and he's like talking to Drake, or not even talking to Drake, but he's looking at the camera, and he's looking at Drake like, nigga, you ain't shit. He's talking to him. Because all that being said, let's say if the record was underwhelming, like not, I don't want to say it was trash because I haven't heard not one whack diss record from either side. So that's what makes it to me the greatest rap battle of all time, in my opinion. Because when you equate to the fact that you have two of the greatest giving us original quality diss records, and even though back in the day it was like radio incorporated, so you went up on Hot 97 and you spit freestyles and you was dissing niggas. Now we have two of the best that's like giving us quality disses. That to me makes it number one. But it's all subjective. But saying all of that, and then even in Family Matters where you know, you state things like how you have a fake mole and you was so strategic enough to send a fake mole to Kendrick's camp and feed him false information and make him pretty much look like a sucker and a liar, more importantly. So everything that Kendrick says is a lie, but everything you did is the truth. And to me, if that was the case, I would have documented that, because just like I said just now, where he had that initiative to get the replica van to crush, he's putting Pharrell chains in the video, he's at the restaurant. If you was that strategic with the visuals to the diss record, then you would have been strategic to document the finesse. So when Meet the Grams comes out and that oversteps your record, I would have returned the favor and overstepped the Meet the Grams with the documentation of me showing the public that I'm dispelling everything that Kendrick says. Because once that would have happened, it would have been finito for Kendrick. Because at that point, you gave us concrete evidence that this man is lying about you. And even though that is not a typical rap move, the fact that you clearly gave us evidence and proof that this man was lying would have made everything Kendrick said voided, because now we don't believe him because we know you're lying. But the fact that you didn't do that and you allowed Kendrick to not only overstep your record, but with a record that was crazy, and he's like really talking to, like, I never seen in my life since Drake has been dominating the game, which was like 10 years, damn near 15 years, somebody like really walk him down like that. Even on Story of Adidon, that like push exposed him for his current situation, but we knew that was the case because Drake spoke of his fiance. So at the end of the day, he started off saying things like, you want to speak of my fiance, let me speak of your Beyonce. Like, I know who you lay in bed with. But this particular record, Meet the Grams, where you have a production, you have a production with Alchemist, who is like one of the greatest of this shit, you know what I'm saying? And who gives you that grimy feel, that eerie sound, that you know, alley vibe, like you walking through darkness, you know what I'm saying? And then you match that with a Kendrick who is damn near just as psychotic as the fucking beat itself. And his sole focus with all these diss records is talking to Aubrey Drake Graham, and he hits with it. It makes the Family Matters record damn near irrelevant at that point. Like, personally speaking, I forgot the record was even fucking out. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, at that point, this is a momentum switch. It's a shift. Like, now we looking at Drake after you drop what you perceive to be the nuke. Because again, Family Matters was supposed to be the record that was going to end all this shit. It was supposed to make you the winner, and we would applaud everything, and it would have been that. But now we looking at you within the same time frame, in the same day that you drop your nuke. That was already powerful in Kendrick. And then, like I said, if that was me, I would have already deaded that by giving the public the documentation of me sending that fake mole. That's why I ain't really believe that theory, but I can't prove it, but I personally didn't believe it, because when he said it, it's like, okay, if you line the nigga up, then I would have documented that. So even me saying it wouldn't have been enough, because you can believe my word or not, but once I show you this, it's nothing to deny. And at that point, that would have made Kendrick have to scramble and have to do something. But rather than him doing that, he allows not Kendrick to drop that Meet the Grams, but then he doubles back and does a Drake to Drake, and he gives us a banger. Like, and I tell you, when this is a banger, this is a banger. That Not Like Us record is the shit. I played that shit damn near 50 times a day since it came out. And I go to the gym with that motherfucker. I'm playing it in the car. I'm damn near I'm banging on that record. I'm a whole VA nigga, but I feel like a LA nigga when that shit comes on. Because not only did he give us a banger, this was something that the public opinion felt like Kendrick couldn't do that Drake does. This is what Drake does as an artist. He gives us number ones. He gives us hits. And going into the battle, a lot of people that I saw was saying that that was one thing that Kendrick can't do that Drake can do, and that was his leverage point, which is not only give us a quality diss record, but make that diss record a fucking hit that you can't not listen to, a la Back to Back. You know what I'm saying? But again, and no not the Meek, but this ain't no Meek Mill. This is Kendrick. And when you go back to the Family Matters record, because one thing I forgot to mention is that not only did you speak of the fake Mo angle, you also alluded to the culture. You started to weaponize the culture. You started to use that, or tried to use that, against Kendrick, and that shot you in the foot, because when you begin the record and you bigging up Game and you bigging up YG, who is also Compton natives, and Kendrick being from Compton, you made it a culture thing now. So now, not only did Kendrick use that against you, but he made a hit out of it. So now when people can't not play that record, it's a loss. To me, that's a headshot. Like the Meet the Grams record, regardless of how you feel about the daughter thing, because again, when we're talking about truths and lies, I don't personally believe the man Drake has a fucking 11-year-old daughter. Now, we don't know that to be true. The man did speak out on Instagram and his last record, which I'm about to get into, and debunk that. And he also stated that he sent false information to Kendrick. So he debunked it, but we can only take a nigga word. But we don't know. I don't believe it. But regardless of that verse, that record itself was so powerful and impactful. And then to double that down with a banger, which was another thing that was clever, because you went from gritty, grimy, and airy to fucking turnt. So you gave us so many angles and categories of disses, from Euphoria, which was like the same type of approach that Family Matters had with the different beat switches. You know what I'm saying? Then you had 616 in LA, which was a soul sample. Like the nigga was dissing Drake over Al Green sample. Like, what are we talking about? And then you go from that to the Meet the Grams, which is an eerie, you know, type of dark alley feel. And then you end it and concluded it with a fucking bop. And shout the Mustard, but the shit is fire. It's a banger. You know what I'm saying? And he did a Drake to Drake. He did a back to back on fucking Drake. And that was in itself an overwhelming feeling. Like, man, when that shit came out, it was like it took over. You know what I'm saying? And outside of the tempo and it being a hit, he's doubling down on his content. He's calling you a pedophile. He's saying your team is suspect. He's saying Baca has a case that's serious. He's saying that the niggas around you are sex offenders. You know what I'm saying? The A minor bar is such a memorable bar in this whole beef. Just like the fuck the big three is just Big Me. That A minor shit is crazy. So he turned the hit into something that is also dissing this nigga in terms of still calling you a pedophile. it's bad, man. And then not only that, he flipped the slave line that Drake also used in Family Matters, how he said that Kendrick sounds like he trying to free the slaves, which a lot of people felt offended about. But to me, I ain't really take that much weight into that line. I understood what he was trying to say with it, but the only reason I ain't trip about it is because the line didn't hit like that. So that's another reason why I ain't give that so much energy. And the fact that later down the line, it did not work in his favor, and Kendrick flipped that and gave us an educational piece on a bop is insane, because there's no way, and it's not normal, or not normal, but more so like is unheard of to get educated on a fucking bop, like a record that's like in the club and you jam into. He's telling us about how, Atlanta was the slave hub, and then he flipped that to how Drake utilized Atlanta to get his culture's status, pretty much, which I thought was very clever. And again, regardless if you think it's true or not, it's impactful and it hits, because now it makes Atlanta look at that and have a conversation of, holy shit, is he like, not is he telling the truth, but you gonna have motherfuckers that agrees with it, and then you probably gonna have people that don't. But the fact that he put that in niggas' head, and then he unified LA and the West Coast, he's already having regional sides kind of looking at Drake like not on the positive way. And I'm not saying that like they want to fuck Drake up or he can't step foot in LA no more. No, it ain't that deep, because it's just rap. But the fact that he flipped it on him, it's a W, bro. Like he got it, man. And it's okay, because I want people to understand that it's okay to lose a battle and it just be a battle. Like, this is not a career ending moment. Now, going forward, who knows what that means for Drake in terms of how the public is going to continue to receive him. I still think he's still going to be fucking fine. He's Drake. He can give us a number one tomorrow, and he's still going to be, breaking billboards, numbers, sales, tour dates, all that shit is going to pop. But like with this battle, I felt like he underestimated Dot. Dot did exactly what was needed to be done, and he took care of his food. And to me, he, the boy Aubrey underestimated this shit. All that being said, that leads to the last record officially of this battle to date, and that was the Heart Part 6. Now, before we get into the Heart Part 6, I'm not even gonna lie. I really wish that the record or the diss back and forth would have ended on Not Like Us, because once you hear a banger like that to me, it was the end. Just like when Back to Back came out and that record dropped, and it was like nothing that Meek can do or does is going to overpower this. Like, Drake did something that was insane. Like, he gave us a record that was undeniable, the shit, and he's also talking to Meek. You know what I'm saying? So once that Not Like Us shit came out, it was undeniable. It was the same feeling, and he did it to Drake. So, but Heart Part 6 comes out, and this is 48 hours after Not Like Us. So at this point of the battle, Kendrick spoke twice to Drake. He gave us a sinister record, then he doubled back with a bop, diss bop, as Charlemagne says. And the Heart Part 6 comes out. I see the title. That's a flip of Kendrick's Heart series. And it's all fair in love and war, because Kendrick did the time step thing with the 616. So I understood what they was doing as far as like, I'm going to take your shit and make it, how I want to do it. But Heart Part 6, I'm thinking like, okay, the first 5 was fire. So hopefully Part 6 is like some shit that can like really be like what I thought Family Matters should have been. Like him just talking to Kendrick and getting at Kendrick. Soon as the beat drops, fire beat. Not sure who the producer is. The beat is hard. Again, this is more skills being showcased. This is more immaculate rapping. So all of that is being checked out. However, the content definitely screams white flag. I don't care what nobody says. Because again, you have, people online. And of course, this is opinionated, but I'm going off what the man said. And regardless of how niggas feel, the man waved the flag. He conceded. When you say things like, I don't want to rap, it's making me not want to rap anymore. And I'm paraphrasing, but when he's saying things like, I don't want to rap anymore, and then you're alluding to Kendrick having 10 more songs and how he has this shit burnt out. And not only the fact that you waving the flag, but the whole record was you on defense. So, because at this point, again, you got the whole pedophile claim in your name. So you're not focusing on attacking Kendrick. You're more so, defending your name and your honor and whatnot, which I understand because, again, like I said, when something as serious as pedophile, snitching, and woman beater comes into your name, you have to protect your name. You know what I'm saying? But when this record is solely focusing on that and how you alluding to how you want to go on vacation and you taking time off and you pretty much, you don't have no more in the fight, that tell me right there that you're done. And that was you confirming the L. And then at the end, when you gave us, like, he gave a speech and he's talking and he's saying things how Kendrick would have been a competitor, a notable competitor if he was, truthful. To me, that was weird because it's like, one, Kendrick is already a notable competitor regardless. He was a notable competitor when he did the Control verse. He was a notable competitor when he came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me gave me the confirmation of my theory that he underestimated him because he ain't really respect him for who he was. He just saw it as, I'm the bigger artist technically, and that would take care of my situation. As long as I give y'all this ham ass claim of him being a woman beater, that will eventually cancel him out and people will fuck with me. But you need more than that. So that being said, man, it was definitely a underwhelming moment. It was an underwhelming feeling in the battle because, again, the beat was fire and the rapping, he was rapping his ass off, but he just threw the flag. And to me, after that, I was checked out. I ain't want to hear no more of the battle. Like, I hope that's it. Like, I hope Kendrick doesn't respond because at that point, it would be like beating a dead horse. And then even if Drake was to respond back, it's going to be, too late at that point. It's going to be like, damn near Jay-Z on Blueprint 2. You know what I'm saying? And, when Jay did that at that point, it's like, bro, at that point, we got to declare a winner. Like, nigga said Nas. Like, so you just got to take your L and still be who you are. Like, you still going to be Drake. You still going to be the guy. You're still going to be the boy, as people say. You're going to give us bangers. So none of that shit is going to be taken away from this battle. What I will say is that from this, I know that Kendrick now ain't to be played with. And it goes back to the Like That verse, and it makes that verse hits harder because when he's saying things like fuck the big three, it's just big me. And then you see how Cole reneged on his response and he apologized and he ducked. And again, respect to Cole for, acknowledging that what he did was not in his spirit. And as men and people, we have the right to do that. But from a competitive standpoint, fuck all that because you dropped the record and you pulled it back and you apologize. It is what it is. And then you have Drake and how he handled this. And mind you, like I said, something like being called a pedophile is serious. But when you initiate the battle and you speak on this man's wife and you allude to him being a woman beater and beating his wife, and not only being a woman beater, but them not being together, and you question their whole family unit, and coming from somebody who's, known as a womanizer, who, got a porn star pregnant, and, your situation is iffy. It's like you kind of one of the last niggas to be questioning somebody's family unit. So that approach, when you initiate it and then you kind of make it seem like, oh shit, you making it burnt out after you ask this man and you push them to come outside, it makes you look wild, bro, because you was asking this nigga to come out when you was responding and you was two up. Now he responds and he fights back and he states his shit, and now it's, oh, you have it burnt out and you have 10 more songs, and you pretty much let the nigga just roll out an album on you. Because if I'm Kendrick, I damn near would drop something, because all the momentum is on Kendrick now. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of the battle, I think if Kendrick was to drop, I think that shit would go number one, and a lot of niggas would want to listen to it because he earned that status and respect of people wanting to listen to his catalog. But now with this battle being said and done, and after Drake throwing the white flag and Kendrick handling his food, he damn near did an album rollout on this nigga, man. So it was just crazy, but nonetheless, man, that being said, Dot is the winner, and I definitely want to, give my round of applause to these brothers, because at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel, what's more important is that as a culture, as hip hop, we can say we got, if not one of the greatest battles of all time as far as rap. Like, it is hands down top 3, if not number 1. It will go down with the Hoes and Nas, Beans and Kiss, you know what I'm saying? 50 and Ja, I can go on and on. Like, and just speaking from a rap standpoint, because again, when this whole shit popped off, nothing from this to me was about gunplay, about street shit, none of that. Especially now with the internet, like, motherfuckers don't even really have to see each other, but like, they can be in their perspective corners and just drop their shit and go from there. And I say all of that because recently there's been reports of like Drake's mansion in his OVO store getting shot up. So all of that is definitely not what we're entertaining. This is nothing more than a rap battle. And to me, I think not only did Kendrick outperform him as far as rap skills, he had a better strategy. He played it better. His approach was serious. He didn't underestimate his opponent, and he gave us a fucking banger. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did every aspect, and he gave us every damn category or like feeling of like all his diss records touch every nerve. Like, it gave us a turnt moment. It gave us a sinister moment. It gave us a soul sample moment. It gave us a versatile moment. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. Drake, in the same sense, was rapping his ass off. Outside of the Tailor-Made freestyle, everything that he dropped was heat. But I felt like he was underestimating him and distracted by others, because even though you got all these other niggas dissing you, bro, you know that the public, and even from your own mouth, when you antagonizing and you trying to get this boy Kendrick to come outside, we don't care about none of these motherfuckers. Because when Ross dropped his diss record, as fire as that was, we knew he wasn't going to respond to Ross. You know what I'm saying? So when Weeknd and ASAP and, all these other niggas is coming at Drake, we knew it wasn't the time, nor it was worth giving these niggas energy as far as responding. I don't even care if they dissed them, because they don't even hold that much weight in comparison to what this Kendrick nigga is talking to you about. So the fact that his sole focus wasn't Kendrick, to me, was a knock on his regard, because the only record that I can say that was solely talking about Kendrick was his last record, The Heart Part 6. But the only thing with that record was he was on defense. So he was talking about Kendrick and just Kendrick, but he was also more so spending time on debunking the shit that was being put on his name. So that's the difference where like Push-Ups, he's not just dissing Kendrick, he's talking about everybody else. And then Tella Made, forgive me, that was solely on Kendrick, but the fact that he used AI technology to weaponize that, to me, wasn't a point. That was the weakest song of his list. You know what I'm saying? And then the Heart Part 6 was a concession speech, you know what I'm saying? And then the boy he just got outperformed, man. You know, that's pretty much that. And then man, it was just, you know, one of the ones, man. Like I said, May 3rd is gonna go down as like a historic moment in hip hop, man, and it's something that I'm proud to say I can witness. And I don't know if we'll ever get this shit again, because these are two of the greatest. So I don't know if we'll ever get it, and if we do, how long it's gonna take. But in the meantime, we definitely just need to celebrate the fact that we got it. And regardless of who you got size on and your preference, it's okay to like both of these niggas and still think one is better than the other, or one got them over the other. And that's about it, man, because niggas got to stop dick guzzling, man. You know what I'm saying? Dick guzzling is a crazy thing, my brother. You know what I mean? And I think that's about it, man, because like I said, this episode was dedicated towards the greatest moment in hip hop history. Damn near one of the greatest moments. Let me say that, because all my niggas gonna be on my neck like, the greatest moment. Yes, it was, bro. Like, I never seen that much quality diss records in my life. From a back and forth standpoint, it was insane, and we grateful for that. So salute to Kendrick, salute to Drake. You know what I'm saying? And continue in the year 2024. Who knows what's gonna go on, because ever since Cat Williams got on that Shannon Sharp platform, niggas has been tweaking. It's been nothing but beefs. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you got the Chris Brown and Quavo situation that we heard pop off. We currently got Sukihana and JT on the women's side. Women beefing and shit. It is crazy. You got motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, like Game antagonizing Ross. He's asking Ross to come outside. And you already know how Game do. This nigga Game wrote 300 bars. So a nigga like Game thrives off beefs. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of that type of energy. And outside of that, man, you know what I mean? Shout out to both camps. Again, if it's something serious that they are being alleged to, then they got to speak about that. But other than that, I just appreciate the raps. And, you know, besides that, man, you know what I mean? Before I do check off, I just want to, you know, shout out to all my supporters out there, you know what I'm saying? All my YouTube subscribers. Please check out the YouTube channel. That's for the love. That's for the LUV. All my DSP listeners, you know what I'm saying? Of course, that's Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple. Y'all out there. I see y'all. We around the world. For the love is worldwide, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? To my 757 people, keep being an influence out here. And shout out to my good brother Pack Super at superclothing.com. That is the official clothing line of the For the Love merch. You know what I'm saying? And go on the website, get a t-shirt, because it's definitely hot outside. You feel me? And I'm working on, you know, I'm spreading ideas of what we trying to do with the merch to spread, you know, more creativity. So give me time with that. But I appreciate all the support. And at this point, man, like I said, I'm damn near done tired of y'all niggas, man. So I'm definitely peace out. And it's your boy Los, man. This is episode 65, but I'm out. God bless.